Okay, we're recording. All right, what are we doing?
I'm not. What are we doing? I want to be able to see something here. Gain is about 6. Gain is about 7. It's conversational level.
Yeah. Has to be like that extreme.
Can you just put it to FPS mode?
What's FPS mode?
It's just having it oriented just one way, or lock the tilt.
Yeah, I can lock the tilt.
That's easier.
But this way it's easy to track, right? And whatever, man, we'll just let it be. I don't
Okay.
want to spend like another 5 minutes setting up the.
Okay.
Okay.
So this is the in-person version.
Yeah, I mean, how close do we have to get to the mic?
You don't have to be very close to the mic
Yeah.
if it's quiet. And this is just trial, so the audio quality doesn't matter as much.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
So let's spend like 5 minutes talking about Scrum.
Right.
Does CK run Scrum?
So, what happens in CK, our Scrum meetings is the daily stand-up.
Right, that's what they call Scrum.
That's what they call Scrum. And in the stand-up, every
Everyone gets
morning,
bored.
everybody talks about
What they
they're
did
gonna do,
and what they're gonna do. Yeah.
and then by the end of it, everybody goes, "Hey," and then leave to do their own thing.
Yeah.
So I still don't have a clear idea what everybody's talking about,
Mm-hmm.
and I have to think about what I want to say at the daily stand-up.
It becomes more of a reporting tool.
Yeah, but like no one is actually accountable for another person.
Okay, that's not what a team is. So do you have teams?
So here we have a native platform team,
Mm-hmm.
and the platform team has like five or six iOS engineers, 5 or
Mhm.
6 Android engineers, and then we have like a project manager.
Okay.
And that's considered a team.
Okay.
But we all work on different stuff.
Are you autonomous?
Right now, I'm the only React Native engineer,
Uh-huh.
so I am very autonomous, and my job is to do a lot of experiments, and I ask native engineers for help. And some of the native engineers even work on multiple teams. Like they could be working on the international team while still in native platform.
Okay. Do you have commitments?
Yeah, so my job right now is to get the experiment working with React Native integration and get the chart working. So
Is there
there's no deadlines.
Who receives your service or product? Who receives your product?
So right now I'm building experimentation. If it's successful, then any development teams, any native development teams that would be using my module would be the receiver of my product.
Okay. So does this product have a name?
Yes, it's called Charts. It's called React Native Charts.
So charts.
CK React Native Charts.
So charts is a feature, but is it a product?
No, it's not.
Okay.
I'm not concerned. My job does not make me concerned about the product, because my target audience is other developers.
But do you consider that as a product in which you deliver to the developers?
Yeah,
What are you delivering?
I'm delivering the charts.
The charts.
Yeah, I'm delivering a module.
The module.
Yes, the chart module.
Okay. Is that considered a product
For who?
for the developers?
So that they can import it and use it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So, so I'm trying to see if there is a value stream in which there are actors acting to contribute and going down this stream of events in time.
Mm-hmm.
Who else contributes to this charts?
No, no one.
No one.
I'm the only person.
So you're the only person.
Yeah.
So there's no team. There's just you.
Yeah.
Do you talk to your how do you plan for a commitment?
So usually my manager comes to me and not my direct manager, but my manager that had ideas that, hey, it's probably a good idea for us to do charts in React Native. Can you do something like this? And then I said, yeah, I mean, I can look into it. Then I report back to him of what I built, or when I get stuck.
Mm-hmm.
And then he adjusts the specifications and let me work on it, and I usually get back to him probably like on a weekly basis.
Okay, so when I say autonomous, do you get to deliver this yourself, or does somebody deliver it for you?
What do you mean somebody deliver it for me?
As in, do you need permission from your manager to release this?
No. I do need team member approvals.
Okay.
For PRs, for pull requests.
For code, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So there's a bit of a impediment there, but that's because you're working alone.
Well, even for native teams, we have quarterly goals, and these goals are split into tasks, and then each person work on the tasks.
Uh-huh.
And then when they're done, they have a pull request where other team members have to review their code.
Mm-hmm.
And then when the code is reviewed and it passed all the tests, then it gets merged into master, and then there's a weekly build.
Okay. So it seems like you're only managing a short part of the value stream, where somebody's life actually gets better with your work.
Mm-hmm.
So you have a stream upstream of turning some ideas into React Native code,
Mm-hmm.
and then somebody else is responsible for using that module
Mm-hmm.
and turning it into something that the end user might enjoy.
Mm-hmm.
If you had it your way, what would you change about people working in different ways, like different parts of the value stream?
Well, it seems like pair programming would make a lot more sense for pairs of developers to be working on the same feature.
Mm-hmm.
And that way, there's some knowledge transfer. Yeah, and I would prefer more cross-functional, that more people are aware of what other members on the team are working.
Why do you think cross-functional is not the default?
Because whenever there are incentives to release a new feature, that feature instantly becomes a team with clear boundaries of who's in and not in the team. And then that team is solely responsible for its goals.
So it's how the tasks are divided
Mm-hmm.
that determines the organization.
Yeah.
That temporary organization.
Mm-hmm.
So it fits in a bigger context where this configuration is optimal for those boundaries of features.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think those boundaries are well justified?
Sometimes not, because sometimes like each feature is sort of going its own direction without consulting what other teams have already accomplished. So there should be some sort of like higher level communication where maybe some members should be in multiple teams,
Mm-hmm.
so that they are aware of what other teams are doing, and then not suffer the consequences of Conway's law.
Does it make a lot of sense for one person to be in multiple teams?
Well, the problem right now is because all the people in one team are just responsible for that team's performance. So all the planning
Okay.
is just to that team.
So from what you're telling me, it seems like each product backlog item
Mm-hmm.
is popped off of some manager's list
Mm-hmm.
as being the most important,
Mhm.
and then that a temporary organization forms around that product backlog item,
Mm-hmm.
and then the team dissolves after that product backlog, after the PBI is completed.
Yeah.
Is that somewhat accurate?
Yeah. Yeah.
So it seems like the product is, the boundaries are drawn at the feature level, not at the product level. How many features? How many modules are there? Modules. That's a tough thing
I'm not sure
to
how
define.
Many, I'm not sure how many modules there are, but there are teams that sort of oversee the whole thing. Like they have these app experience or like core product teams where the team's responsibility is a bit larger than just their own features.
Mm-hmm.
But it's unclear whether those teams are doing a good job of consolidating the differences and the redundancies between different teams.
So, can you give me an example of a feature, like something that a team would be based around on?
Yeah. So we had this one feature where we can monitor the identity of the user, or in this case it's the credit score of the users.
Mm-hmm.
So specifically, there's a tab in settings where a user can press on that tab, and then it would take them to a separate part where they can see their scores. They can protect their scores by not letting it change.
Okay.
And then they would offer some advices and all that stuff.
How long would it take? How long would that team take to get that done?
So I believe it took them about 3 to 4 months to get that feature done.
Okay.
And they did a parallel of both web and React Native.
Okay.
So they duplicated the work.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm still trying to look for the reasons why people why the division is set out the way it was, and
Yeah.
I'm just trying to see
Yeah.
if you had any ideas on how you can improve this division.
Yes. First of all, there's no. If you talk to management here, they don't see any problem with that.
Mm-hmm.
They think this is perfectly normal, and they think that there's nothing wrong by separating into this way,
Mm-hmm.
and that they are working on making it better. Secondly, I think this is just easier to think about it like this way,
Mm-hmm.
right? When the company get to this size, and they wanted to build a new feature, they just form a new team.
Okay.
They want to build another feature, they form another team. And then
Yes.
they're like, okay, we need platform support. And then they form a platform support team.
Okay. So how do you know if if like breaking up into different teams and then getting back together is better than staying as just one team?
I'm not sure. Because I haven't seen a company of this scale working together as one team.
Because not the whole company as one team. That's
Yeah.
just ridiculous.
Yeah.
But a team is where everyone knows each other by name,
Yeah.
at least.
Yeah.
And like a 2-pizza team would
Mhm.
be like up to 10 people at most.
Mhm.
And then they would kind of talk to each other without going through management.
Mhm. Yeah.
And then instead of having different teams
Mhm.
work on different features and people trying to sign up for these different features,
Yeah.
what about like stable teams that stay together as a group? The group is a work in progress. So how do you find improvements with your configuration? Like, is there any desire to get better at what you're doing?
I think it's particularly challenging for developers that are already in the grain. They have already been here for many years, and they already have experience, and they're already good at debugging and putting out fires.
Mm-hmm.
I think they're very set in how it's already laid out.
Okay,
And
so they're
if you're
very
trying-
conservative.
Yes, and if you're trying to change them, it's gonna lead to a very bad result because they're not gonna be willing to put out fires, and they're gonna be very vocally against
So they're resistant to change.
restructuring. Yes, so you have those people on one hand, and then there are also other developers that are maybe slightly newer. They'll just conform to whatever structure that you set for them.
Uh-huh.
So if you tell them to do that, they'll do that. If you tell them to do something else, they will do something else.
Okay. I'm trying to see if there's a way to make it more effective by using stable teams
Yeah.
instead of recycling teams.
Yeah.
Because, like, what's the merit to just recycling teams? I guess the merit is like you have like cross department like knowledge transfer
Yeah.
every few months.
Yeah.
But it seems like there's no desire to improve if the people are so resistant to change.
Well, I mean, yeah, I think the desire to improve comes from individual,
Mm-hmm.
where the company as a whole cares about meeting its goals and making the employees happy.
Right.
And if the employee is happy and is meeting its goals,
Then there's no reason to change.
then there's no reason to change. And then part of making employees happy is like giving you the opportunities to learn.
So when they set these goals, like, do they want to just push it out? Or do they want to push it out faster and better?
Well, they because it's a consumer-facing app, it needs to be pushed out very quickly, and it needs to be good enough that it doesn't break.
And this current configuration supports that, so there's no need to change.
Yeah, it's good enough that it doesn't break, and if you can embed web apps in native, you can get it done very quickly, and that's what's been happening.
Okay, just to use the proven way.
I think that's what I'm speculating. That's what majority of companies of this size are doing.
Okay.
Because developing in native is always very slow, so it always feels like there's not enough native developers, and that we should hire more native developers.
Okay.
And native developers are getting pulled off into all these different features, and they're getting like worked on all these like different things, and they're kind of not aware of where native is going as a whole, nor are they concerned about where the mobile app is going as a whole, because as developers, we don't really want to bang against the walls too much. We just want to do what we're good at.
Okay.
Yeah. And then the people at the management level, they're just trying to decide what's happening next.
Right. It's not management's job to.
Yeah. Because
to put their noses on how we do our work.
Because what happened was, last time we were, I was being assigned to work on some GraphQL tooling, and after I made those changes that he specified in the tooling, I asked him if we should do refactoring to make it easier to make changes in the future, right? And the response was like, "Well, no, this is not really important. We don't need to do refactoring for this."
Okay.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. What are some pain points? There must be some pain points.
Well, there's a lot of them. I think we have to talk about each one at its own level.
Okay. We could keep going, but if you have those pain points, like, what's the mechanism in which you address that pain?
Yeah. One of the biggest problem is like, for your product, your software to evolve to consumer needs, and also discovering consumer needs.
So like experiments is a pain point.
Yeah. So what happens is native app is structured with a lot of story cards. And each card has its own features. And what they have found out was what they could do is they could have the server dictate how the graph should, how a story card could lay out. So the server could send in the data saying, hey, this story card is going to be this feature, and it should have this heading with these styles, and the content should lay out in the 2x2 grid as opposed to an image. So here we have developed the technology to basically have the server telling how the client should render for each story card.
But this is a lot of detail about the problem itself.
Yeah.
I was more curious about how you address these pains.
Yeah, no, that's how they addressed experimentation, is by using a view-centric UI, where the server tells how the client should behave.
Okay.
Right. And there's always, and then from management's perspective, there's always, how can we unify the technology we have?
Okay.
Like, we have this technology for the native. Can we do it in web? then we want to do it in web.
Mm-hmm.
For web apps, there's a bridge. For React Native also has a bridge. Can we get it done on the same bridge?
Mm-hmm.
Can we use the same bridge? Right? There's a lot of the management always is thinking, if we have this feature on this platform,
how can they scale it to other teams?
Yes.
Okay. I think I was asking more about the organizational level of how you address those problems, not exactly like what tools you came up with.
Well, I mean, this company is more focused on tools, and the people sort of just people are just like there for the tools.
Okay.
I'll tell you what I do know. Because I am going to be transferred to the web team
mm-hmm.
to do this view-centric UI.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And after speaking to the front-end infrastructure team, it turns out they already have something like this
mm-hmm.
for a very specific story card.
Mm-hmm.
However, it wasn't very well documented and it wasn't very well polished,
mm-hmm.
but it is implemented. And that information wasn't available to me until I spoke to the right person.
Okay.
You can imagine as a normal developer that if you haven't had that chance to talk to the right person, you would not have known all this information.
Okay. Oh, there's a lot of technical stuff in there.
Yeah, I mean, it has to be. I mean, software management.
So, it just seems to me that the attitude is, whenever there's a problem, let's come up with a tool to fix that problem.
Yeah, I think that's why we have a lot of our internal tools. But it seems like any company at that scale does that too.
Okay.
Like Facebook does that too.
Mm-hmm.
Some of it's right, some of it's wrong.
It's just that the mechanisms for improvement are hidden away in the form of tools, and when the people leave that know how to use these tools, then these tools go obsolete, and you have more code.
Yeah. So then, and then they try to have really good incentives to keep people around.
Okay, so that they don't leave.
Yes, there's strong financial incentive to not leave.
Okay. Well then, I think that's about it for the trial.
Yeah.
I wanted to go more into the scrummy parts, but in the context of CK,
Yeah.
it seems like stable teams is the impediment to stronger improvements.
Well, quarterly goals, bi-weekly checkup, daily stand-up, top-down management.
That is top down.
I say this is pretty much a classic waterfall. Like there's nothing agile about it.
Okay.
Yeah, but it's like why? They don't see.
To the developers,
It works, right?
Okay.
It works, and you've seen how slow the code base builds.
Yeah.
And you've seen how much technical debt they've accumulated.
Yeah.
And they just hire more people. The wheels are still turning.
To work slow.
It's slow, but the wheels are turning.
And that's all that matters for them.
And at the end of the day, they still release things, right? Features are still getting built,
Mm-hmm.
and the app doesn't crash.
It's
We have good tests.
okay. Well, I guess in this context, pretty much unlimited resources when it comes to like building whatever feature. This kind of makes sense.
I mean, I guess it's kind of hard to manage a large company when you're facing like what was it like 10 million users, and then you have tons of features that you want to build,
Uh-huh.
and then you have like a web team, a native team,
Yeah,
a
but
backend team.
But it's not a team.
Well, I mean, it's like you have a bunch of iOS engineers,
Yeah.
a bunch of Android engineers, right? And then quickly, it's like you have 100 people. It's like how you gonna coordinate this many people? I mean, here we have 1,000 people now.
Mm-hmm.
It's like I don't know. But if you think about it, like, I mean, that's how Google runs, right? Google has so many projects.
They have a lot of projects.
They have a lot of different projects, and they don't communicate with each other. They don't need to. Why does DeepMind need to communicate with, like, I don't know, the Flutter projects?
Yeah, but the people that work on one thing stay there for years.
Mm-hmm.
But
Here,
there's a big advantage of
Yeah.
having a stable team.
yes, that's right.
It seems like you're just missing out, and nobody's complaining.
Stable teams.
Yeah.
Well, it's
Do
just
people that work together like continue to work together?
no.
No, they just separate and then work with somebody else.
Yeah. So I mean, this is perceived as a opportunity because you get to move up. You get to work with many different
Yeah.
people in a very short amount of time.
Uh-huh.
Right?
That's good networking.
Yeah. Yeah. We recently had one of our VPs like move to Microsoft.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So it's like people come and leave all the time, and then
And
your
there's no-
your
right.
desks get moved too.
Yeah.
You get moved to a different section.
Yeah.
You get moved to a different building. It's like, yeah.
Because once the team is like really good at what it's doing,
Yeah.
then it's able to deliver.
And you're suggesting that team should have the same people but work on a different
Yeah.
yeah.
Different product increment.
Mhm.
That way, when there's problems with an old feature that they built,
Yeah.
they can go back and fix it, no problem.
Mhm.
If there's bugs.
Yeah.
But if a bug is really messy and then the people have dissipated,
Yeah.
then they're gonna come back together.
Yeah. So it's a lot of hey, do you remember that part that you wrote? How did you do it?
Right.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure if that's ever been like a pain point.
It certainly has for me because they've used contractors as well.
Okay.
The contractors are gone.
Okay. Well, I guess that's about it for the recording.
Yeah. Yeah. Maybe we should do that beginning intro. It's like, hey, how's it going?
Yeah, we can do.
Well, we'll introduce ourselves. My name is Jun, and
Yeah.
yeah, we can do that.
Let's do a better format.